friends. We thought we'll start our 5th CPC after having done 4 CPCs and got an excellent feedback from all of you. We are emboldened to have the next one. And this CPC, very special one. It had a very good start. And this is the first time we had exceeded the quota. We used to have 20 seats, and the whole registration started pouring in, and then in fact I had to, I didn't disappoint anyone, but you'll find some people sitting on the chairs behind. So that is number one. Number two, last 2 CPCs I could not get involved personally because I was not available. I was doing remote control from US. Right. So I'm happy that I'm here. And after the first 2 CPCs, the 5th one at least, I'm able to be present here. And thirdly, and the most important, is we have a very, very highly distinguished speaker, entrepreneur, par excellence, and a shining star in the industrial horizon of Kerala. And in Sanjay Mariwala, who is the managing director of Canker, and also he is also the founder director of the name always
Omni Active.
Yeah, Omni Active Health Technologies Limited, which is a company which he started, his own baby actually. Sanjay has shifted to Mumbai for the last, say, year and a half or so, and mostly he stays in Mumbai, but still, he's very much, his presence in Cochin in our hearts is imprinted highly. The activities, the contribution which he made to the industry in Kerala, and also his activities in the other organizations like Spices Board, CII, TIE, and so on, actually. So it doesn't need any introduction, but however, for completion's sake, I have great pleasure to read out his biodata. Sanjay has had a very distinguished training, and after his graduation, and then he did special diploma in Jamnalal Bajaj Institute, Mumbai, and then he also has done executive programs in IIM Ahmedabad and Harvard Business School. But immediately after his graduation, he joined his family business, the Mumbai Oil Industries Limited, which is a parent organization, a family-owned organization actually. And I was told that the Mumbai Oil is still very more famous than Canker at times. You know, people to locate Canker, they ask for Mumbai Oil. Yeah. So he joined as a sales representative, like in great organizations. This also happens in, like Godrej. I think Jamshed used to tell us, he was my boss. He joined us as sales person actually, and worked up various levels to the position of chief executive of Botanical Extract Division of the company. In 1990, he was appointed as the managing director of Canker. Canker, incidentally, stands for Kanchi, am I right? And first 3 words, and was the founder of the whole organization, and Kaji Moraji, and McCormick, the COR of McCormick. And that is the word Canker stands for, actually. I was also wondering how this word came. Yes. So, Canker, and in 2007 he set up Omni Actives, and both the companies have grown significantly under his leadership, operating globally with a turnover of 400 crores for Canker and 200 plus crore for Omni Actives. And both companies are leaders in the field of natural ingredients, extraction, isolation, and purification, covering food ingredients, personal care ingredients, and healthcare ingredients. It's a wide variety of products. He has played very important role in associations in industry bodies. He was a past vice chairman of Spices Board, past president India Pepper and Spice Trade Association, past chairman All India Spices Exporters Forum, past chairman of CII Kerala, member of Southern Council of CII, and above all, most importantly, a charter member of TiE Kerala. He was instrumental in introducing online trading activities at India Pepper and Spice Trade Association while he was the president. He is also on the board of several companies and has successfully promoted and closed venture capital business. He has presented a number of papers at different forums and institutions, and he has served as an active member of the organizing committee of the Nutraceutical Summit held in India annually. He lives in Mumbai with his wife, Nandana. A word about Nandana. She is not here. She should have been here. She is an entrepreneur in her own rights, actually. Very successfully, she runs a travel agency called
Destination Unplugged.
Yeah, it is Destination Unplugged. I wanted to give the name because it's a very significant name. And she unplugged everything for us when our team of visited Ireland. I was told that it was a very enjoyable, very well organized trip, and I really expected Nandana to be here and tell her personally this. We are very thankful. Please convey. So he's in Mumbai these days, and he has got 2 children, Niharika and Nihar. Sanjay also has been very frank in giving his interest and his weaknesses. His interests are reading, travel, wildlife, photography, art, and his weaknesses are golf, wine, and food, which many of us share. So we can expect something special for our high tea this evening. I have great pleasure to invite him to the podium, and a special welcome to Sanjay. Today's program, also today's will be an interactive session, will be in the conversation style. The only difference, or rather for an improvement, I would say, is that our Vice President and Charter Member, M.S.A. Kumar, we are fortunate that he has kindly agreed to anchor the session, actually. So I have great pleasure to invite him to take over. I also take this opportunity to welcome all of you on behalf of TiE Kerala and the Canker team. We have the Canker MD here and the chairman.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So thank you, Casey, for such a wonderful introduction, and welcome to all the members who have come over for this Coffee Pe Charcha. As Casey mentioned, this is the 5th session we are having with a good response, and the style will be basically storytelling, anecdotal, more interactive. So I asked Sanjay what is he comfortable with, and he told no PowerPoint. So that was fine. So you don't see any digital projector here. So please feel free to ask questions. I will start off. But before we start off, I also would like to welcome our past president, Johnny Paul, for this program. He is a great supporter of CPC and great supporter of TiE Kerala. We also have other charter members. We have Rajesh, we have Damodar, we have Jodi. They are all charter members, so welcome to all of you, and welcome all the friends. So shall we quickly have a quick round of
introductions? That will help.
If each one of you can say a few brief words, your name and what you're doing. Some of them are known to me already, but still for the completion's sake, I think we can start from this side. Maybe you start with you. You can sit down and talk, yeah.
I'm Anthony Joseph. I'm a management consultant based in Kochi. Okay, I'm Jain. I'm running two companies. One is Onboard Security Services. I do Manpower Consulting and an e-commerce venture, eroot.in. That's me. I'm Matthew. I'm also I have a couple of startups in the healthcare sector. Trying to get there.
Myself, Janendra. I was Swiss Spice Industry for more than 10 years. Now I am into consultancy, all again, mainly based on
Myself, Shahnawaz. I am the territory manager for an Australian firm called Clevertech. We are technology suppliers for spices and tea, coffee and dairy industries. I was also working in spice industry.
You're a Synthite?
Yes, I was.
Yeah, Vishnu.
Hi, my name is Krishna Kumar. I run a company called Green Pepper. We are into executive search.
When I heard your name, your company name first, we thought we are all the same business.
In the same business. That's right.
Yeah, please.
My name is Ramesh. I have a software company. We just do software product for healthcare.
I am Gopu Kumar. I was the area manager for UB Group and also Forbes Camel. And from '98, I am having my own event management organization called Indian Trade Fair Foundation.
I'm Chako Chagan. I run a software development company called Raw Data Technology, predominantly into web and mobile apps.
I'm a KP Abraham, representing a financial consultancy company for labor fiscal services.
Myself Suresh, basically I'm an HR person by profession. I run an HR processing unit, HR process and outsourcing unit. I'm also into another business in wellness side. I'm into production unit. I have a production unit in wellness products.
Myself Namburi, we are end-to-end ingredients manufacturing. More important is working in team and is 74 last 30 years. Since 85 years working.
So you also will be able to throw some light on
Yes,
something.
yes.
I know it very well again.
We have enough people here who are able to throw, if I'm saying anything wrong, they will correct me.
I'm Nipu. I'm also from the same organization, End-to-End Ingredients. I also was part of the Kanchi Moraji group for 15-16 years.
Myself, Jarish Thomas. I'm with End-to-End Management Consulting. We are majorly into market management consulting as well as market research.
My name is Nadrajan. I'm working for Dadri Ayurveda Private Limited as sales head for rest of India.
Interesting.
How about I think that?
I represent Dhanam Business Magazine. I was speaker.
Sri Kumar.
Basically, I'm an advertisement filmmaker. My name is Surya Sri Kumar. I have a production house by the name 3000 AD Productions Private Limited.
Okay, thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, we are actually doing this video shoot.
Yes.
So TIE has started what is called TIE Talk globally. It's monitored from Silicon Valley by the TIE headquarters. So they have agreed that since this is a very novel thing, the Coffee Pe Charcha, so they will put the short version of each
Very
of
good.
this on the TIE Talks. If you go to TIE Global website, they already started. There's a nice interview of Jack Welch and Susie Welch conducted by one of the TIE charter members from Silicon Valley. From Canada. So you can. So we're also going to put this after we compile the whole thing, and we are also in our TIECon Kerala 2015. We are also going to bring a booklet of CPC. In terms of the learnings from such stalwarts like we had VK Matthews first, and then we had Jose Dominic, then we had Nawaz Miran, then we had Deepak and Jyoti last month, and now we have Sanjay. So, sorry?
Fifth one.
Yeah, fifth one. So basically this will be finally, Rajesh, my colleague, is a prolific note writer as well as Damodar. So they have agreed to take the
Wonderful.
key learnings, and then we will be putting it out as a note, later Sanjay
Great.
and all this thing. Okay, let's start off, Sanjay. Since you started your career, and can you give a little more family history and how did it evolve? And I know Jai Singh was there, your
Sure.
father was there.
Sure.
How did that take off?
So, I like telling that story. It's interesting because it is a little different from a lot of families, and people ask me quite often that most families by the third generation start having issues, okay, and businesses kind of either break up or find people get in and out of businesses. The youngsters don't want to join the business. Most times somebody wants to go out and do his own thing because there's so much exposure of other opportunities. Somebody wants to become a doctor, somebody wants to become a lawyer, somebody wants to go out and become an investment banker. Mostly kids go abroad to study and they don't want to come back. So these things happen in families. How are you guys dealing with it? Okay, and what changes? So one of the things as a family business we have attempted to do is not remain a family business but become a business family. Okay, so the subtle difference is that when you are a business family, you have your mission is clearly a little different from what people consider as a family business. A family business is when a family is in the business. Everybody works for the company. People are employed in different what you call positions, and people look at salaries careers coming from the family business, salaries coming from the family business. It's a source of income, it's a source of occupation. I think one of the things we set apart quite early in our family was the fact that we are not in business to occupy people. Okay? We are in business to make money. Okay? We are entrepreneurs. We want to create a breed of entrepreneurs, and entrepreneurs are the ones. And I like that little saying that somebody wrote one day on a wall, and I picked it up and I borrow it. It's only entrepreneurs that create wealth. Governments destroy it, okay, and bad governments destroy it faster than anybody else does. I love that saying. So this is something we, as a family, very seriously prescribe to, and we think promoting entrepreneurship is what we have to do as our contribution to the society. If entrepreneurship is something that can be taught, it can be made to happen, and it's something that we should do well as an entrepreneurial family, and keep growing businesses. And the way to grow businesses is we created a charter within the family that everybody who is interested in staying within the family business, and to make people be interested in staying in the family business, we should encourage each person to have an independent company or independent group of companies within himself, okay, or herself, so that that independence brings a fair degree of freedom to operate. It brings also the ability to express yourself as an entrepreneur, and it's a very good tool in a sense that when you run your own little company or a large company, you know for sure what your capabilities are. What happens in most family businesses, and we saw this pretty early, is that disputes appear when there are so many people in the family business and somebody feels that I work harder than he does. Right? Now, when you start saying that, and when these things start happening in your head, and you don't necessarily say that, it's the wife who says that to you, and then it starts building in your head. Okay, this is real life.
We call it Malayalam Talayana Mantra.
Exactly.
The pillow tricks.
Pillow talk.
Pillow talk or
pillow talk. Okay. Yes, so this is it's true though. This is how it starts, and then it breeds and it starts in one little corner of the family, and then you say you accept it. So you create a little compromise for one individual. Then that compromise spreads because somebody says, if he can get it, why can't I get it? So that's how it multiplies. So we said, let's anticipate this. This will happen in family businesses. And we also created a culture by which we said, those who run a business will own a majority of it. Okay, the family should own a minority in it. Okay, and that works because your own skin is in the game. You are running your own company. You have your own majority stake. Nobody interferes with your decisions. But the decisions are there to see because that's what the balance sheet reflects. The balance sheet of a business clearly reflects your capabilities, your ability to grow a business, your ability to run it, your ability to employ people, keep them happy with you, keep them motivated, and the results show in your balance sheet. And if you produce more, then you can grow faster. Okay, and that formula works for us. So it's kind of kept our family in business for the 4th generation today, and I'm happy to say 5th generation has also now entered the business. In my case, my son has joined the business as well. He's training right now, and the idea would be to follow the same rules eventually to help him create a little niche of his own. I don't want him interfering with me. Okay, I'd rather he did his business and I did mine. I'd be very happy doing that. You know. So that's the real background of our family in that sense.
Yeah, I think family business to business family is definitely an interesting, change. What you mentioned. I also remember, your own cousin.
Yeah.
Harsh Mariwal, his daughter came into the business and went out.
Yeah, son.
Started
son.
Canine behavior. I think she wanted to.
Oh yeah, that's the daughter. That's right. That's right. Right. That's the daughter. That's the daughter. The son also came in and went out and did his own business in soaps now. So I think this is important from the point of view that we have experimented with various tools and models in this case. There was a time when we were Bombay Oil Industries, as KC explained to you. There was one company, and everybody was employed by one company. And that's when we started feeling this pressure, and we went out and we said, "How are we going to deal with something like this?"
Come to sorry.
Why don't you come in the front? That how are we going to deal with something like this, and what should we do? And we went and talked to quite a few consultants. We brought in consultants from outside. I remember in those days there were the first generation. I mean, then the first generation, which was the 2nd or 3rd generation in the family business. That was my dad and his brothers. They were all used to be collective decision makers. Okay, so there would be a council of 4. They would share a room. They would discuss everything together. Decisions were all by consensus. Okay, which is a good way to make things happen, but also it slows things down. Okay, everything becomes very slow. Things don't happen rapidly until everybody is convinced and on board and bought in. No decisions would be taken, and then, like in every family business, you would find that somebody feels that he is the eldest, so he must make the decisions. Okay, those are all real challenges in family businesses, and we saw that happen. And some of us who were young and new, and the next generation, started questioning these things, and we said, just by being the eldest doesn't give you the power to make the decisions. Okay, so how do we deal with something like this? It's a difficult one to say to people, but we have to say it. Okay, somebody has to say it. And I said, how do we get somebody to say it for us? That's when we went out and we found a couple of interesting consultants. One of them I remember very clearly was the Dean of SP Jain School of Management. That was M.L. Srikanth. M.L. Srikanth was a very, very straight shooter, plain talker, black and white in language. Okay, colorful language, but black and white in expression. Okay, and he would say things in a very humorous way, but he would deliver a message. Okay. And he was also an acceptable age at that time for the uncles and fathers to accept him. So we brought him on board, and he kind of communicated a little bit of our piece to the elders and made it happen. And then we had Atreya. I don't know if anybody knows M.B. Atreya. Okay. So he worked with the family for quite a few years in trying to bring about a transformation of thinking and a new way of looking at how one should approach it. So I think bringing in this, the good thing was the elders also accepted that there was a need for change, just didn't know what the change was, and then when we proposed the change as youngsters, they were willing to accept it, okay, which made some changes happen, and it made the family grow. It created lots of new enterprises, and everybody's businesses have grown, everybody's businesses have prospered. Freedom of expression creates a lot of opportunities and challenges, and I think that has worked very well in our case. And business family has, as a family business and a business family, we have multiplied. Okay, I think that's kind of worked out well.
Any questions, since there's a lot of this thing in terms of what Sanjay mentioned. The 3rd generation was more of collective decision making, and You're the fourth generation.
Yes.
When it came to fourth generation,
It kind of changed quite a bit, yeah.
And that change was facilitated by an external agency.
Yeah.
A consultant.
We brought in a consultant and made some of the changes happen. Okay.
That trend I see in Kerala also when, now since I have not donned the hat of a consultant, but as a family business facilitator, this is more and more coming up. I think it's a very valuable input in terms of even one starts a business or already in existence. It makes immense sense.
I think what happens, is if you look at consultants, they don't have an axe to grind.
Correct.
So everybody sees the value in bringing in an outsider to say, however, plus they bring in best practices.
That's true.
What is happening around the world. It's not necessary, that in a family business you get to see too much of the world. There are also these, as you start out to change in a family business, one common trend that runs through it is that you have not necessarily seen too much of the world other than in your business. Okay, you've not gone to different companies, you've not seen different cultures as a family business house. This is a challenge that a lot of family businesses face. Okay, the two generations of family businesses who have always been in the family business face that as a challenge. So an outsider helps you open that mind. I think that's an important contribution that an outsider brings, which is why bringing in the outside in is always a useful thing to do.
Any questions at this stage in terms of please?
From the shift from a family business into a business family, you give opportunity for youngsters to be more expressive and structure their business to their capabilities.
Sure.
But along with that, whether it is structural adjustments so that you tap the strengths from the other, satellite businesses in the business, and they formulate like in a formal way or in a structured thing.
We didn't do anything structured. Okay. We thought that this would be. It should be left to the competitive advantage of each business. Okay. That's what creates the best structure, in our opinion, which is I can buy from you if you are the cheapest and the most effective. Okay. I don't have to buy from you because you're my cousin or my brother. Okay. And I think that rule continues to apply even today. And that's how we operate. We don't have to necessarily buy from each other. We can buy from our competition. Okay. We can buy from, and we do, right? We don't necessarily insist that you have to buy from your brother because, again, that creates a artificial, uncompetitive positioning, which does not help you grow your business. Okay, and ultimately you have to stand on your own feet as a business. The business comes first, right? It's not a. You have to create wealth, and to create wealth, you have to be the most competitive business in the value chain, and you have got to create value in your business. You don't want to create a network where say, oh, we can't sell to these guys because they can only buy from each other. Okay, it serves no purpose because you also don't get competitive input into your business if you operate that way. That's how we saw it. Right? That's how we operated. Does that answer your question?
Any other questions before we move to the next interesting journey of Sanjay? I mean, anything in terms of the family business, how it has evolved over a period of time, please.
I'd like to know, which sector the whole family operates and.
Very good point. So it. When I joined the business, which was in the 80s, okay, we were one company called Bombay Oil Industries, and then we had two other companies. One was called Kanji Murarji, and one was called Vallabhdas Kanji. Okay, there were three companies in the family sphere, and these three companies did three types of activities. Okay, we did in Bombay Oil Industries, we did all the industrial activities. So all the plants, industrial plants, were all under Bombay Oil Industries. We had a oil division which had various cooking oils and hair oil as a part of the business. The second one we had was industrial chemicals from vegetable fat, from castor oil. So castor oil based stearic acid, hydrogenated castor oil products, products for the industrial for rubber and tire industries, for example. And then we had the botanical extracts, which was making oleoresins from spices. These were the three main industrial activities which were in the Bombay Oil Industries umbrella. We used to do the export of spices, which was the traditional family business in Kanji Morarji, which was the old name, which is the first firm that the family started business with. And we used to do sourcing out of Vallabhdas Kanji, which was the company based here in Alleppey. Okay. Since 1935, I think, is when it was established. And what Vallabhdas Kanji did was, in those days, when Kanji Morarji started exporting, Kanji Morarji story is interesting. For many years, my great-grand uncle who started the firm, Kanji Morarji, used to buy pepper from Kerala, bring it into Bombay and sell it to a couple of export houses. Because in those days, pre-independence, there was a period during which the British were not allowing Indian companies to export or not encouraging Indian companies to export. They would corner most of the export business. Okay, so you had to sell to a European or a British company, which would then export. And so that's what Kanji Morarji was doing. It was buying from Alleppey and Kozhikode and Kochi, taking pepper to Bombay and then selling it to Wolcott Brothers and other such European houses which would export it. Until 1930s, I think just before the World War ended is when, somewhere in 35, 36 or 34, 35, when my grandfather joined the business. So he was the second generation. And the first thing he did is he questioned this and he says, why should I sell to this Sipes? Okay, I don't want to sell to them. I want to go and sell my pepper to anybody who wants to buy it in the world. Okay. And he says, if the Europeans won't buy it or the British won't buy it, let's go to America. Okay. And so he landed up in America, and the first company he went to was Baltimore McCormick. Okay. And he met one of the McCormick family members, and they hit it off together since 1934. Okay. And McCormick said, we'll help you out in this process, and they bought a few ships of pepper. Okay, in those days, a ship of pepper was virtually like a container. Okay, because those were break bulk. A net would come to your the port. You would carry the pepper gunny bag on your back and dump it into the net, and then 50 bags would make one something, and then that would get lifted up and put into the hold of the little ship, which would mainline vessel, which would sail from Kochi or Alleppey to the mainline port, which would take 2.5 months to get there. Right. And the interesting part was how trade got done in those days, which was very interesting. But to cut the long story short, he looked at it saying that, okay, we are doing this. Now I got this started from the front end. Let me go to the back end, which is to say, why should I be paying a margin to somebody sitting in Alleppey and trading in pepper? I can do it myself. So backward integration is what he took place. And he came here, and he was the only other member of the family other than me who lived here in Kerala for a few years. None of the others lived here other than my grandfather and I. Okay. And of course my brother now, right, who followed me later. That's another story. And he lived here for 5 years, set up Vallabhdas Kanji in Alleppey, okay, and started buying locally. So the farmers would come in on the rice boats into the canals and then would deliver pepper to us. And that pepper started getting traded. And besides pepper, then he looked at the next commodity and he said, which is the next big commodity out of Kerala? So there's copra. So let's get into the copra business. So that's how he got into the copra business and started buying copra from Alleppey and shipping it to Bombay, and set up a oil mill thereafter. And those businesses have grown now to become Parachute Coconut Oil, Saffola, okay, Cancor, OmniActives, HPFL. I think there are now some 30 companies in the group, and we are in various chemicals, perfumery chemicals, spice extracts, nutraceuticals, seasonings, flavors. As you know, Marico is one of the family companies. Kaya skin clinics and thing is another part of Marico. We also are into other businesses like car dealerships. So we are the largest Mercedes dealership in India, which is called Auto Hanger, okay, in Bombay. We are also dealers for Honda cars. We are also dealers for very fancy cars called Lamborghini, the sports car, which is not doing well at all, but that's a serious problem. And a few other such businesses. So I think today it's as we talk, maybe somebody is planning out a new venture or something or the other all the time, and as the family has grown, okay, we are 8 entrepreneurs in the 4th generation, and there are few more coming. As today 2 or 3 have joined, and a few more are on the way. Right? Some are studying, some have finished studying and are starting to join the business. For some strange reason, all the boys and girls in our family who have gone abroad to study have all come back. Okay? Nobody has stayed abroad. Because I think there is this magnet of attraction to say we can do business here in India and grow, and it's demonstrated, so why don't we come back and do that? Okay. So most people have done that.
You joined as a salesman in 1980.
Correct.
Actually, it's your family business.
Yeah.
Is that the plan for the 5th generation also? That you started at a very low level.
Yeah.
To learn the tricks of the trade.
Yeah.
But what was your experience when you joined your family business as a salesman? Did the colleagues treat you like a owner's son, or did the colleagues treat you like another colleague?
Yeah, it's a very interesting question. Honestly, it was. I think it was tougher then than it is now to train up a youngster. Okay, because for 2-3 reasons. Okay, when I was the second person within the 4th generation to join the business, so it was actually. The changes in our thinking was just about starting to happen at that point of time. First of all, in our own thinking, were just starting to happen at that point of time. So you were still, you would still, for lunch, okay, there was a family lunch room. So you would join your dad and your uncles for lunch. Now that's a bit odd, It's not easily done, okay. But in today's day and age, it doesn't happen. You don't have the luxury of having a family lunchroom here because the space is at a premium. So that's the best part. Okay. There is no family lunchroom. I sit and eat on my desk, okay, and I bring my lunchbox from home, or I go out and eat, or I get a sandwich, okay, and you get a sandwich. Sometimes I sit down and eat with a colleague, right? So it's not necessary that we have to eat together, which helps because that gives my son enough freedom to go out and eat with the boys, okay, or the girls, and he doesn't have to eat with me, which makes a huge difference. Right? In fact, when I was operating here in Angamali, I used to eat in the canteen, okay, because everybody ate in the canteen. Yeah. The rule was that you couldn't have food inside the factory. You had to go to the canteen to eat. So it was simple. So you brought your box also, you lunch box, you took it to the canteen and ate. Okay. So those things are much simpler today than they were in the days when I joined the business. But having said that, I think the ability, the consciousness was fairly high that we were trying to do something different and new. Okay. Today it has become a way of life. So you accept things as they are, right? In those days it was a very conscious effort to say, no, we are training the youngsters, so let's focus on making sure that they are well trained. Okay. So we had I had allowances which were the same as a salesman's allowances. There was nothing special in that sense. So we would actually I think I have traveled about 17 states out of all of our Indian states. There are only 3 or 4 or 5 states that I had not visited when I was a salesman. And all the visits are done in those days. The salesman used to travel, or even today, salesmen travel by ST buses, okay, or private buses between cities. Okay, so you would walk a city, you would make the calls, you would sell coconut oil or Saffola depending on what the markets was, what you were selling, and then you would go to the distributor's warehouse in the end of the day. You would write out a report, and of course there was only just that there was